माननीय सदस्य श्री A.B. अकोईजाम जी।
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for the time and allowing me to take part in this discussion on the Honourable President's address in this House. I was expecting the President's speech to mention something on Manipur, very honestly speaking, because I thought that the government will outline through her speech on the steps being taken by the Government of India to deal with the issues and this tragedy that we have been witnessing in my home state. But call it arrogance or a reflection of a peculiar form of Rashtra Chetna followed by the ruling party, they have chosen to remain silent and in an effort to make the crisis invisible to the rest of the country as well as the globe. So I expect Madam Chairpersons to give me a little more time than the usual so that I can register the pain and anguish of the people of my state in particular and those fellow countrymen who are worried about the happenings in my home state. It's my sincere appeal to you. Please do give me some extra time. In our President's speech, it says that the government is trying to take along all these people, an inclusive and all-encompassing approach based on the principle enshrined in the Constitution. But the fact of the matter is, this government and their ideological moorings clearly does not believe in inclusive politics. I say this for one reason, not only for what has happened vis-à-vis with the Manipur crisis and the manner in which the Government of India have responded, but also generally the manner in which they have tinkered the constitutional principles and the manner in which they have imagined this nation to be. Their attitude and response to Manipur is nothing but a specific form of reflection of their general conception of what this nation is all about. Let me start with a particular tinkering that this government has done, which we don't see. Babasaheb Ambedkar said we have this document now, but how we inject flesh and blood to the soul to this document is what matters through our practice. What has been happening since the last 10 years? Like all liberal constitutions, we have this beautiful phrase in our preamble called "We the people." And this "we the people" is, like all liberal constitutions, conceptualize the population, the nation as a stratified population. But this government is pushing for a kind of an imagination of a nation which is cultural and organic in nature. When the Prime Minister took over in 2014, he has said on many occasions across many platforms in the West, in UK, UAE, Netherlands, or in various meetings in this country, he invoked a very familiar phrase that we have seen in the Nazi Germany's in 1920s and 1930s, Blut und Boden, blood and the soil. He said in his speech in Wembley, as well as in Netherlands or UAE or in my part of the world in Silchar, he says whether one should be giving emphasis on the color of the passport or the color of the blood or in our relation to the soil. These invocations of the blood and the soil is what the Nazis have shouted in the 1920s and 1930s. It is these conceptions of the people of this country leads to various exclusions. So there is no surprise that today we have a party which swear by nationalist ethos, and you have none of the members from the Muslim communities, which constitute 15% of the population. That is the reflection of that imagination of the nation. It is a similar kind of an exclusion that you have continued through your response to the crisis in Manipur. Allow me to cite 4 specific issues that tells you that the crisis in Manipur is not an isolated issue. Its gravity is such that it is a national crisis. Allow me to explain on 4 specific ways. Under the Indian Constitution, we have a state government and assembly, which has been reduced to a farce. We had the shortest assembly session in 2023 in August, which barely lasted less than half an hour. Instead of discussing on the crisis, the assembly was cut short. The government of Manipur openly claims that its power has been stripped by the union government. We don't know who is in charge of the state of Manipur. The leaders of the government in the state says that the police did not report to the Honorable CM and the Home Minister, to whom they are reporting then. And the appointment of the big officials of law and order, such as the chairman of the Unified Command, which takes care of the security and law and order situation, coordinate various security agencies, has been removed and planted some ex-bureaucrat by the center. And the CM says, for instance, that some part of Manipur is under my command and some part of the state is under the Union Home Minister. Can you imagine the Chief Minister of Maharashtra saying, Mumbai is under my control and the rest of Maharashtra is under the Union government? That is an illegal subversion of the constitutional mechanism and democracy in this country in the 75 years of our experience. That is the subversions that we have experienced. We don't realize this. The Chief Minister ordered something. The Central Security Forces refused to obey the order. And there are images where the Central Armed Forces stopped the Manipur police from responding to armed attacks on innocent villagers. This complete chaos is what we witnessed in the 75th year of the constitutions, on which we have given lectures and bhashans in this house as well. It is a reality that is happening in Manipur, but who cares? You have sent in 60,000 plus troops, and under whose command those are working? If Article 355 or 365 has been invoked, where is the written documents? There's nothing of that kind. So it is an extra-constitutional subversion of the constitution of the country in a state called Manipur. Indian state has become nothing but a banana republic in the state of Manipur. Madam Chairperson, have you ever seen elected members being beaten up publicly in this country, and the country thinks that constitutional order is in order in Manipur? The dignity of the elected members, the authority of the assembly, everything has been subverted by this union government in collusion with their satraps who are running the show on their behalf in Imphal. Please keep in mind this is a complete subversion of a constitutional order on the 75th year of constitution. For Manipur, incidentally, this is not the first time. When the constitution was adopted 75 years ago, we had an assembly of our own and a constitutional monarchy, which was bulldozed on the 15th of October 1949. That insult should have been bygone be the bygone, and we should be looking forward. But this manner in which the crisis has been handled, and contemptuous manner in which this has not been talked about, even in our Honorable President's speech, is making you to remember that humiliation once more as we are trying to look forward. This is the most saddening and unfortunate part as we celebrate the Constitution's 75th year. Second example, when Baba Sahib Ambedkar was asked, which article in this Constitution you think is the most important one? He points out Article 32 and said this is the soul and the heart of the Constitution. In Manipur, you have a main. Please, madam, I have seen people getting more time. Please allow me to finish at least. Give me 2-3 more minutes. Article 32, habeas corpus, is one of the legal rights that the citizens have. But in the most secure place in Manipur called the Red Seal Divisions, the 57 Mountain Division, an army garrison, a civilian by the name Kamal Babu, Laishram Kamal Babu, disappeared without a trace. Since November, the defense minister kept quiet, the army chief kept quiet. How secure is the people of Manipur, even when you are not secure in the military garrisons? The biggest army headquarters in the state of Manipur, the 57 Mountain Division. Who will answer this? I'm elected by my people, and I'm supposed to voice in this house as a part of a democratic culture, as a part of a constitutional scheme of things. Now, how do I speak? People have been killed, children, women have been assaulted. But we have seen hostage taking. Women and children were not only being taken hostage, they were killed in cold-blooded in the most gruesome manner in Jiribam, including an 8-month-old infant. It's a post-mortem report. It's a chilling reminder. There have been people killed in gruesome manners throughout this 21-month-old crisis, but never has this kind of a hostage taking and killing has happened. Now look at this. I am, as an MP, cannot go to some part of Manipur. Where is Article 90 free movement? People are not able to go. The chief minister himself cannot go to certain places. Some MLAs belonging to a tribal groups cannot come and attend the assemblies. And we think Article 19 is working in the state of Manipur, and we are celebrating 75th year of the Constitution. Where is Article 19? Madam Chairperson, there are still thousands and thousands of people are linguists in relief camps. Partition is a living reality in the state of Manipur, and we think the constitutional order is intact in the state of Manipur. Third point, very unfortunately, I have been hearing our ministers and leaders saying that Kukis and Meiteis should talk to each other. Have you ever heard when the communal violence happens, Hindus and Muslims should talk to each other? It is the absorbing of the responsibility of the state. First, you should rein in the violence. The authority of the Indian state has been challenged by armed groups. Many of them have been propped up by the Indian security agencies, as many observers have pointed out. Many of these Kuki armed groups under the SU, they have been propped up by Indian security forces, and unfortunately on media you see BJP entering into an understanding with them for them to get help to win elections. Now they are playing havoc. They are running wild. Similarly, in the valley areas, there are armed groups which is reportedly nurtured by political leadership from your party. And this is where you wanted to keep silent. You don't want the rest of the country to know about this. And insist as if, like the Britishers had done, Hindus and Muslim conflict in India is a product of a colonial process. It is not inherent in our country. That's many scholars have written. You do not essentialize this conflict. This is a part of a colonial state process. Unfortunately, while still talking about decolonizations and trying to change a law created by the British, we are talking like the Britishers, saying that this is an essential conflict between the Hindu, just like the Britishers have done, as if the Kukis and the Meiteis have an essentialized conflict. It is a product of a state process. We need to decolonize our mind. Lastly, but not the least, Madam Chairperson, we talk about Viksit Bharat and progress and development. I must inform the House that the highest inflation rate in the country today is the state of Manipur. All the small-scale, medium, micro entrepreneurs have shut down. We're losing investment. People are losing jobs. And the unemployment rate, Manipur is among the top 5 in this country. We talk about the stunned state. Many of the stunned states, including Andaman, is in the list of the top 10 most unemployed people in this country. You are not talking about this economic development, this crisis. There is no relief, tax or otherwise. You are trying to push it under the carpet as if nothing has happened. Despite all this thing, Madam Chairperson, you know what happened. People are not able to travel because of this communal violence. And the flight fare is soaring to the sky. It is looting the tragedy-stricken people. A flight fare from Delhi to Kolkata is around 6,000, which is 2.5 hours journey. But the flight from Imphal to Kolkata is around 13,000, 14,000. double the amount which has been going on for the last 20 months. Government of India is not interested in that. So what has been happening, you think that we are talking about Manipur as if it is an exception. I want to end with this remark. The Danish philosophers have reminded us. Soren Kierkegaard once said, if you want to understand the general, pick up an exceptional, true exceptions, because the exception will explain the general as well as the exception itself. If you want to understand what this country and how it is imagined, how this constitution is working, and how it is being lied to the rest of the country, take Manipur as an exceptional case. The moment we are honest about it, you will be able to answer. We think that alienation of the Northeast people will be okay, but you check it how the youths are asking the relationship between India and Manipur because of this crisis. It is a danger written on the wall, and I draw the attention of all our members cutting across party lines. Please respond. We need a JPC to inquire into this crisis and do justice to the people of the state of Manipur. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.